Okay, well, I've kind of made a decision about this yoke. I put out some feelers on Facebook and the Killer List of Video Games message board. They have a wanted section, but I got a bad feeling that it's going to be very hard to find this yoke. So I thought about it's going to have to be replaced if it can't be fixed. And it's not going to get it fixed if I don't tear it down. So it's going to be hard getting all this epoxy loose. But it does have the little clips right here that holds the two-piece ferrite core that the vertical winding is wrapped around. So that's the ferrite core is in two pieces, and this one side is one half of the vertical deflection coil, and the other side is the other half. And you take these little clips off of both sides, and it'll come apart. Now, this is coated in epoxy, both sides. So I'm going to have to break the epoxy loose to get the clips off. And then it's epoxy all down around this edge right here. It looks like this metal piece, you got a metal piece on this side of the yoke and a metal piece on this side, and they look like they're sort of molded in or stay with the plastic halves. The plastic separates too, but you have to get the vertical windings off before you can take the plastic part of the yoke off. So it seems a little complicated here. What I want to do first is the top two right here are the horizontal windings, which are on the inside of the yoke. All right, well, you got two windings, but you only got two terminals. So you got two of the magnetic wires come to one side and two come to the other side. Now, I don't know, are these in parallel or are they series? They could be in series. What I'm wondering is, I'm getting no reading, or actually a high impedance reading across both of them. But what if I unsolder the wires and separate them on the sides here? I can figure out whether they're in series or parallel, and I can, if that's the case, then I might be able to get a reading on one coil and not the other. Only one might be open. So one coil might be good and the other coil might be bad. That would at least narrow it down as to where the bad part of the yoke is. And even if I have to destroy the yoke to get it apart and unwind the coils, I want to find out where the break is or where the corrosion is. And who knows, we might get lucky. It might be right on the back side of the coil. If we can get it all apart and get the coils out intact without having to destroy them, then maybe it's something that we can fix on the inside. Don't know till you try to get it apart. So anyway, like I say, it's no good to me like it is. So I'm going to go ahead and try to unsolder these wires first and go from there. So let's see if I can get them to come loose. I'm going to try to suck some of the solder off first. I don't know if I'll be able to suck anything with my desoldering gun here, but let me turn the temperature up on that. And let me get some fresh solder out. I'll start by putting a little fresh solder on it with my regular soldering iron here. And see if we can't loosen it up some. Now if I can get these wires loose and get a good ohm reading on the inside horizontal deflection coil and find out if one is indeed bad and one is good, then what I'll have to do is I'll have to do the same thing to the vertical windings. I have to unsolder them, and then I'll have to try to somehow get this, if this is epoxy or some kind of glue. It looks like epoxy, but who knows what they used back in the day. Yeah, I'll have to put a little bit of heat on it to find out. It'd be nice if it was hot glue, but I kind of doubt it's hot glue. I'm pretty sure that's probably epoxy. So anyway, all right. Let me see if I can get it hot enough here to suck some of this stuff off. All right, looks like it's getting hot enough. Yeah, sucked up a little bit. Let me try the other side. Yeah, that sucked up pretty good on that right there. Actually, they both look pretty good. So what I might be able to do now is to take the regular soldering iron and either take a little screwdriver or an X-Acto knife and try to unwind this. Or maybe even just a tip of the soldering iron might do it. Okay, I got that up. So what I can do is, that looks like the end of the magnet wire because it looks like about the same size and they're together. Might be able to just unwind it. Now let me put some heat on it. Okay. That's done. Only thing is now they're still together. Let me see if I can get them to come unwrapped. There we go. All right. So in theory, since I got these two unwrapped, I ought to be able to get my reading without taking the other side loose, I think. Let me give it a try here. Can't hurt to try. All right. Put it on ohms. Actually, instead of ohms, let me put it on continuity check. All right. Nothing out of that one. Nothing out of that one. That's disappointing. All right. I wouldn't think it would be. Nope. All right, let me put it on just regular ohms. Okay. I'm getting a reading, and it's changing like it's a capacitor. It's still climbing. It's just went over 21 megohms. All right, let me try the other side here. All right, this one I'm getting nothing. No reading at all. That's strange. This one I'm getting over 20 megohms. And I don't think it's a capacitor on this one. I think the capacitor is on the vertical windings there. Hard to see, but it's soldered on underneath here. It's either a resistor or a capacitor. I think the schematic showed a capacitor, but I don't know. I don't think it's on this, and I don't think the vertical and the horizontal windings are connected in any way. I think they're separate. All right, well, let me go ahead and see if I can unwind this side, and that way I'll have both of these wires apart and we can test them independent of each other and try to figure out exactly how they are connected. All right, this one looks like it might be just as easy. So I think I see the end of the wires here. Okay. That should have them. Nope, it's got one of them. Try to grab both of them there. Okay. Success there. Now if I can... blade come out of the X-Acto. Now, let me separate them here. Just putting the soldering iron on them and getting them apart. Okay, now I got all 4 wires there. All right, I'm still on. Well, let me put it back on continuity check. Now let me try these two. Nothing. Nothing on them two. All right, from side to side, nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. Nothing there. That's strange. All right, let me put it back on kilo ohms. And Now this one is only reading, it's going down. It was reading 2 megs. Now it's down to 1.4. This is very strange. I'm going to try these two. That's very weird. It was like jumping around. It's going from meg ohm to kilo ohms, jumping back and forth. Okay. Now it's steadily going down. 0.6 megs, 0.5 megs. Now just going crazy. It's skipping between meg ohms and kilo ohms. I've never seen it do that before. I wonder if my battery's running dead. All right, let me check my batteries. Maybe my batteries in my voltometer here are running low. Okay, well, I changed the batteries in the meter, but it wasn't the batteries. I didn't think it was, but anyway. I went ahead and got a couple clip-on wires here so I can test leads, so I can clip it on. I decided to, so I wouldn't losing my mind, I went ahead and I've clipped it on to the bottom 2 lugs, which is the vertical winding. And as you can see right here, I'm getting 14.2 ohms. Okay, and that's about what it's supposed to be. Now the weird thing is, these 4 wires is coming from the horizontal winding, which were soldered to the top lugs here. All right, if I take and put lead on this wire that goes around to this backside, and I put the other wire onto the one that goes around to this side, you can see it's continually changing, but it's going up to 30 megs and climbing. 30 meg ohms. Okay. Now, if I put it on the other 2 wires, which these loop around and go in on this side right here. All right, I'm showing infinity, open circuit. Okay. Now, if I hook up these 2 wires independently that will go into the same lug, I also got no reading. Now if I go over here and hook up these 2 that will hook to the same lug, I'm getting no reading. Alright, let me hook this to this one and this one. Let's see what happens. Still nothing. But if I hook it to this one, I get the high impedance. 30 megohms. And if I hook it to this one, nothing. So, boy, I just don't know how this thing was wired up, but it's got problems. So, I don't know what to think. But in its normal configuration, you're supposed to be getting about 3 ohms, 2 to 3 ohms across here. And it's definitely getting a high impedance reading. Before I unsoldered it, I was getting anywhere from 5 to 6 megs. But now it's gone up to 30. So maybe it's because I've been cleaning some of this stuff off under here. There's a piece of tape right here. I took this piece of tape off. Still got a little bit of it right here. I wanted to see if it was any corrosion under that tape. And I did take and sort of pry on the back side of this with something non-metallic to see if it was glued down and see if it would come loose. And it does look like it will maybe come loose and it might be glued, but I can't really tell for sure. So I might have moved wherever the break is. It's probably a corrosion. Got some corrosion in there and got some kind of a break. That's the only conclusion I can come to. And it's making that high impedance through that corrosion. And since I've been doing a little disturbing here, I probably upset the joint where the corrosion is. So it looks like I'm going to have to try to take it apart and see for sure what's going on. So let me look it over and do a little prodding and prying and scraping and see what I can get to break loose. If I can get the epoxy off of these clips and get these clips out, then I might be able to crack the epoxy loose enough to maybe get this out. I'm hoping these will come out. It would have to. It would have to have enough room to come out unless these metal brackets come off, but I don't know. I mean, they look like if they come off, because of the way that little tab is right there and the plastic comes over top of it, it looks like it slides in from the back side. So it would look like to me it has to slide that way to come off, if it does come off. But then again, it goes into the plastic here. So that would have to come out. So I don't know. I've never seen one made like this before, so I don't know how that would come out. Maybe you would have to push it in so that this tab would go underneath these plastic tabs and then it would come off. But to do that, you'd have to have the center ferrite and the center windings out. Well, all right. I'm going to take another look at it and see what I can come up with. I'll be back. Okay, well, I'm making a little progress. I got the 2 little clips off. Clip right here that holds the ferrite together, and the clip right here on the side. So I got that loose. Then I went and untaped the yoke wires, and the blue and the yellow comes around up from underneath here and goes directly to the terminals. So now all I have to do is just take the magnet wire from the vertical yokes here, take them loose from the terminals, And I also noticed that this center terminal, I had forgotten all about that. And it's got 2 wires going to that too. But I ohmed them out, and that's a center tap for the vertical windings, which isn't used. It's just used, I guess, to connect the 2 windings together. So these windings are in series because I'm getting 14.4 ohms reading across these 2. But if I read from one to the center tap or the other one to the center tap, I'm getting 7.2. So that's exactly half the ohm reading as the entire thing. So these 2 coils for the vertical are hooked in series. So now I'm just going to have to unwind these 3. Then I should be able to take and push these little tabs in and take this whole piece right off, and to leave the harness wires hooked up to it. And that is holding this side of the plastic piece together. So when I get this off and get all the wires loose, then what I can do is see if I can't start getting these vertical windings to come loose. They're still glued down around the bottom edge. I don't know if it's any glue around the top edge or not. It doesn't look like it, but I won't know until I start prying on them. And hopefully it's enough room for them to rock back out and up out of there. And if I can get these 2 vertical windings out, then there ought to be a cinch to get this white cover apart and get to the back side of these horizontal windings here. So that's the plan. So let me see if I can get these wires off here. Hopefully they'll be just as easy as the other ones were. All right. Now I should heat it up and just be able to unwrap it. There we go. Kind of makes you wonder how to do all this in the factory. I would have liked to have seen how they do all this. Okay. Now if I can pop this off. There we go. And there's our terminal wiring harness. And let's see. I don't know, I still might have to desolder these 2 because if one's hooked to one terminal, one coil and one's hooked to the other. It's really hard to tell because they're all wadded up under there and then they go through the glue right there. But one goes around this side and one goes around this side, so let's see, where does that go? Goes around here and then goes to this coil. All right, so let me see where this one goes to. I can't see where it goes to because it's got a glob of glue on it right there. Dag nabbit. Now if I dig that glue out, I'm going to mess them wires up. Maybe it'll break loose. Okay, broke loose on the top side. Have to be real careful because you jam into the wires is all she wrote. Okay, well, had a heck of a time, but finally I took my soldering iron and I put it along that glue, and the heat from the soldering iron just melts that glue. Like I say, I'm not sure if that's epoxy or something else, but it just sort of melted it. It's not like hot glue, but it's, I don't know, you can see some of the residue right there. It's weird, but then again, it might be some type of hot glue. So anyway, I realized that these wires run all over the place, and if there's any hope of getting it back together, like, yeah, like that's going to happen, I went ahead and took each one of the wires, and I had to separate even the center tap. So I put some clear packing tape, because this stuff will stick on pretty good, and then I took a magic marker, a permanent magic marker, and I wrote each one of what they are. This one hooks up to the green wire, this one hooks up to the red, this one hooks up to the center tap, this is the other center tap, and then I got the yellow, and then the blue. So I still may have to, if I get far enough to where I can get the outer windings off, then I may have to separate the two inner windings. I don't know, I haven't got that far yet. But anyway, that's as far as I've got so far. So I got the clamps off, I got all the wires loose, so if it does come apart, it'll be able to come loose. Now, I might be able to take the soldering iron and loosen some of this stuff up, but I'm not going to be able to get down in there. This metal is cramping my style here. But like I say, it looks like this metal I don't know, it may come off. That just came out of there. Well, I bent it, but I can always bend it back. Now, I wonder how it comes out of there. Ah, just slides off. Okay, well, I can bend it back. If I get to the point where I can put it back together, I can always bend them back. Now, maybe I'll be a little carefuler with this one here. Okay, that came loose. And they just slide right out of there, so. But the glue has probably got it. That's why I had to bend it a little bit to break the glue loose. Okay. Yep, hear that? Broke that glue loose. Okay. Yep. See the glue all around on the inside of it. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Now look at all that glue. Great time of day. Well, oh boy, I wonder if they couldn't have. Could they? Could they have actually glued the back side of these to hold them together? All right, time to take another little break. I'll bring you back when I figure something out. Okay, I'm gonna try something. I'll try it right here on camera. The bottom of the coil is right, I mean not the coil, but the ferret is right there. It's not touching this plastic. So I'm gonna see if I can take my soldering iron. I'm gonna show you how this stuff just melts away. It stinks too. Say, I don't know what it is. It's definitely some kind of rosin, so it's got to be a form of epoxy. And again, maybe it's some type of hot glue. Look at it. It's starting to cool down and it's almost like a plastic, but yes, reminds me of epoxy rosin. Huh. That's weird. Well, maybe I can kind of loosen it up a little bit and gonna be a slow process. I can see it now. Problem is it melts the white plastic too. You can't see where one stops and the other begins. And I imagine this ferret material is probably right fragile. All right, well, I'm going to take my soldering iron and I'm going to see if I can loosen it up around here as best I can. If I can get it compromised, maybe soften it up and thin it out in places, maybe I can break it loose. So, be back when I figure something out. Okay, so far so good. That trick with the using the soldering iron to loosen up this glue is working. It's still kind of difficult. But I have got one of the vertical windings off, and to know how to put it back together, if I get that far, I wrote green on here because this one here has the green wire here and the center tap on this side. So I'll note it. That goes right there. All right. Now if I can get this other side loose, we might be able to get the thing apart. The problem is all this glue right here. It's got this lip on it right here, and it's not quite enough room for the windings to slip by up here. So, but now that I got that side out, and I can't pry on this bottom because you pry on the windings. So I'm having to pry right on the edge of the ferrite here. I think what I'm going to have to do, the glue has still got it stuck right here, so yeah, it's got it stuck right in here. So I'm going to see if I can't, hope this ain't going to ruin my soldering iron. See if I can't loosen it up right in here. And I'm hoping that it's not going to damage them windings. They should be able to hold a little bit of, stand a little bit of heat. There we go. Okay, so this one here has the center tap and the yellow. So I'm going to write yellow right here. All right. Now, it had a little piece of I don't know if that's rubber. Kind of almost feels like hard rubber. I guess to keep the windings from rubbing on that. This one here is still embedded in the glue. Came off with this. So I ought to be able to clean this up a little bit, nip it to make it fit a little better. And I ought to be able to put it right back together, hopefully, if we get that far. And I ought to be able to clean this up a little bit better. So maybe it'll all go back together. Now, and this is the part that we need to figure out. Well, it has a little catch right here. A little catch right here. And it's got a catch here and a catch here. Now, how easy they pull apart, I don't know. Only thing we can do is put something in it and try to wedge it apart, maybe. Yeah, I think I better go ahead and take that off. All right. Now I'm wondering if it got any of that crazy glue gluing this in. Something's got to be holding it in. I mean, it just ain't holding itself in. I'm going to wind up probably breaking these connectors here. All right, first I'm going to see if I can pick a little bit of this glue off, because that glue is going to hold it anyway. So I'll be back. Okay, I was able to dig the glue away from the bottom part here. And taking these right here, I was able to put this here and wedge this open right here. And did the same thing. I got that one wedged open. I couldn't quite get this one open yet. But I'm going to see if I can't get this one open. Okay, that one came open. This one is open. Now I need to get this one the rest of the way open. There we go. Just popped. All right. Now let me see about these wires. I might have to take these wires loose because they're hooked together. But I just twisted them together, so. All right, let me go ahead and just take them loose. I'm going to have to put a tag on these individually, because in case they're on opposite coils. So let me put that on there. This is just to identify it in case I get to the point where I'm going to put it back together. I'll know what wires go where. All right, both of these were hooked together and they were blue. So, all right, blue on them. All right, these are red. Take these apart. Red on that. Red on this. And I got this in the camera here, so this red one hooks over the center and comes back around and goes in this end right here. So, and this one goes in this end. So, all right, this red one goes in through the green end, so I'm going to put this green end. Hopefully between writing it on here and being able to review the video, I'll be able to know what's what. All right, this one here is red and it goes in the yellow end. So I'll put yellow end. Okay. And this is the blue one, comes out the yellow end, so I'll put yellow end on this. And this is a blue one. It comes out the green end. Okay, all this might be for nothing because if I can't find out an easy place where this break is no way I don't think I'd ever be able to recreate that crazy wrap on here. So, all right, let's see if we can get it apart. Okay. Wow. How do they do that? They have to have some kind of winding jig, but they would have to wind it a certain way, and then looks like it's put in a press and press that shape. Okay. And it just fits so nice in there. Wow. Okay. Well, they definitely had a little spackle of glue in there. Not much, just a little bit. All right, well now the problem is looking this over real good and seeing if I can find a break somewhere in one of the wires. Got an awful lot of corrosion right here, but I'm not seeing nothing that's jumping out at me. But it's got to be one continuous wind of coil because it's wound up. I got two wires coming off each one of them. So it's got to be a break in it somewhere. All right. Well, nothing popping out at me, so let me look at it real close and see if I can find something. I'll be back.